Welcome back to Unstable TV, and you're tuning into Irish Couple Reacts. And do stay tuned because this happens every week.
So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share and hit that bell notification. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you.
So we're back with another react. What is going on today, Danielle?
So we got another suggestion for this week's video. So this was from McTavish. We're going to leave around there. And he asked us to do the American wars that everyone kind of forgot about, which is interesting because I
Forgot about it.
Yeah. Did you forget about it?
I did.
Yeah.
So as a reminder, we're going to jump in now and have a look at it
Exactly.
and see what's going on.
The last footage of the world.
Let's go. Yeah, just kind of forgot.
It's Memorial Day, which isn't simply just an excuse to have a longer weekend, it's officially the federal holiday to pay respects to those who died in all the wars the United States has fought in. You know, World War II, Vietnam, the Civil War, the Quasi-War, the Cherokee Wars, the Boxer Rebellion, When Americans think about the wars their own country has fought in, they often think of just the big ones. World War I, Korean War, Iraq War. But ever since the US was just 13 little states, it's been involved in numerous brief wars, both local and abroad, and a surprising number of them have kinda just been forgotten about. So I want to talk about some of the wars we aren't taught about in history class. Is this alternate history?
Yeah.
No. No, it is not. The real video I planned about Canada didn't seem too smart to release on Memorial Day weekend. Call it bad planning. I don't care.
This is honest. That's why America fought pirates.
Intervention in North Africa is a touchy subject for Americans today. It seems like for the last few decades we've done nothing but focus on North Africa and the Middle East. So when was the first time we had a conflict in the region? How about 1801? Yeah, when the US was still a young nation, and Thomas Jefferson was its president, America fought a 4-year-long war against pirates off the coast of North Africa. These were called the Barbary Wars, and yes, there were 2 of them. At the time, Muslim piracy was a major issue. The coastline of North Africa was made up of a series of pirate states on what was called the Barbary Coast. They included regions like Morocco, Ottoman-controlled Algiers, and even Tripoli. The main thing that united them was they really liked to raid incoming ships. European and now American ships that would cross into the area would often be attacked, and had a ransom not be paid, its sailors would be sold into slavery. This was actually a crisis at the time. It became a debate whether or not to pay off the pirates or to fight them. Jefferson reasoned that paying off the ransoms only would encourage more piracy. When Jefferson became president, the pirate states tried to force another ransom, but Jefferson didn't comply. In response, Tripoli declared war on the US, and eventually all the Barbary states began raiding American ships. We today debate about how the president can use the military without an official declaration of war. Well, this conversation kinda began here. Congress concluded that Jefferson had the powers as commander-in-chief to stop the pirates, protect Americans, and destroy Barbary vessels. Effectively, this was the 19th century version of intervening against terrorists without a declaration of war. Battles were few in the period of 4 years. It was really just a naval blockade of North African cities with the occasional raid. There was one time the Americans took the city of Derna, raised the stars and stripes over foreign land. After 4 years of this war, Tripoli surrendered and a peace deal was made between the US and the Barbary Coast. Piracy remained an issue for decades in the region, leading to another Barbary War in 1815. Once European naval technology became far more advanced than the pirates, Muslim piracy died in the region altogether, leaving behind this strange tale of when Jefferson sent the Navy to fight against North African pirates for 4 years.
What?
Okay.
That time America invaded for and
When Americans learn about the
Genocide,
relationship
well.
between Americans and the natives, well, they don't really learn about it. We talk about the Pilgrims and natives, then skip over to cowboys and Indians in the West. So really most Americans only learn about the beginning and the end. We don't teach about the couple centuries of constant, and I do mean constant, conflict. The United States spreading across the continent wasn't just people in wagons moving and taking empty land. It often involved American soldiers fighting against a guerrilla-style native resistance. Florida once used to be Spanish land, and in that Spanish land there was a native population, mostly called the Seminole. They lived there and formed an active military resistance to the United States. After the Seminole massacred nearby American settlers, the United States wanted retribution, and so the military followed in. The problem was, Spain actually hadn't given Florida to the United States yet, but that didn't matter. Andrew Jackson, a general at the time, gathered a force of 3,000 Americans in 1400 Creek to break the Seminole resistance. Yes, this meant that the Americans had to invade Florida. The invasion mostly consisted of village burnings and leaders being hanged. The atrocities were condemned, but it's Jackson, he didn't care. There was a period of peace, Florida became a state, but the Seminole were still a problem to the U.S. Well, when Jackson became president, they weren't an issue anymore. The U.S. created the Indian Removal Act, which meant all the natives east of the Mississippi had to get out of there. The Seminole understandably didn't like this, and the Americans knew it. And eventually war did come. This war lasted
The guns are great.
6 years.
The way they have them animated.
Wow. Yeah, this conflict against natives lasted longer than the U.S. was in World War II. The Americans could do little against a group which knew their land. Seminoles would routinely kill American settlers, and Americans would routinely torch Seminole villages. But still, even after years, the Americans would be stuck in that swamp. Sometimes for so long, they had to resort to eating their horses. To be honest, this war is so interesting it requires its own video. In fact, most native wars in the East do. But to cut it short, eventually after years of whittling down native resistance, the U.S. was able to drive the Seminole to a reservation in South Florida. I feel the war was just so brutal, and in such a regretful time in American history, it's mostly just been swept under the rug, at least in the states that aren't Florida.
When we really need a wall with Mexico.
History sure is great at perspective. There was a time
all
that
about building them
Mexico
walls.
truly was sending their worst, and the border was legitimately so dangerous, the United States had to fight a war to keep the violence out. This was a conflict that raged from 1910 to 1919, simply known as the Border War. In 1910, Mexico pretty much collapsed and was in complete anarchic chaos. Not even today's violence could come close to how bad it was. This was called the Mexican Revolution, which is way too complicated to get into right now. Long story short, imagine a far worse Syrian civil war on America's border. It lasted 10 years, and 2 million Mexicans died.
2 million.
The war was just complicated
That
and
is a
confusing, and the United States hated everybody involved, so they decided to just secure the border and fight anybody who tried to cross it. At some points, revolutionaries would just attack American towns, and battles raged to stop the Mexican rebels from seizing it. Sometimes federal Mexicans tried to attack, and gangs and Germans. Like I said, it was a confusing time. In this time period, the United States basically just waited for Mexico to get it together, to stop people from attacking inside, and the Americans invaded Mexican territory at times too. This was a back and forth that continued until the Mexican Revolution ended by 1919. Was that the most interesting conflict? No, but it's a little bit of context when we imagine how bad Mexico is today and how bad border violence could be. History teaches us that it could always be far worse.
That took a turn.
Korean War 2, DMS Boogaloo.
For the last few months, everyone has feared that we would fight with North Korea for the first time in 70 years. But that's not true, because we actually fought against North Korea far sooner than that. There was a time in the 1960s that America and South Korea fought against the North for 3 years. There was just a tiny conflict against the North in the 60s that never escalated into anything bigger. And when I mean tiny, I mean 400 North Koreans died, 300 South Koreans, and 40 Americans. The South tried to infiltrate the North and failed. The North tried to assassinate the South Korean leader. It was just a strange time.
Every other war.
The North didn't have nukes, and the South was still a backwater. America was too busy with Vietnam, so after 3 years of not wanting to escalate the fighting, it just stopped. It was soon just called the Korean DMZ conflict, and everybody just forgot that it ever happened. The lesson here is you can always stop a war from escalating if you're already fighting a bigger one. So in conclusion, Jimmy, why did I make this video?
Wow, I never looked at it that way.
I don't really know. It's Memorial Day. It's interesting to remember the less popular wars out there as well.
So, what you think of that?
I have never heard of anything in that video of you.
No, that was very, very brand new. Brilliant suggestion, though.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't know what to say there, because that was just...
Like, we didn't know a lot of that, like...
Why did Germany get involved?
Yeah, like when he said that was confusing, like, he was right, but I was like, you have American, and then you have Mexicans, and then it's just like, yeah, so Germany just joins in for a few minutes.
Yeah, we're going to have to look into that, because that was really random. And pirates?
Like pirate states? I didn't know that was a thing, did you?
No, absolutely didn't know. I knew it was pirates, I didn't realise they had...
their own
section of the sea.
Yeah, they were just like, hey,
we'll ride over here and you ride over there and we'll be fine.
We'll have our own society.
Exactly. Like, what?
Yeah, but America was right, don't pay up, because they would have just done more than.
Yeah, no, they would have, to be fair.
So,
like, I knew, the
Native American stuff.
Yeah, that was, no, I didn't know that specifically, but yeah, it wasn't really a good time for
anyone.
No.
It's a horrible back and forth, like.
But I mean, realistically, what did the Spanish people think was gonna happen when they were going to invade another land? That there was people there.
Yeah, like.
Of course, they're gonna fight back.
Yeah,
they live there.
Like, that's their home. That's like they grew up on that land. Like, why would they not fight back? That's ridiculous to think any other way.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna defend where you live, so. Yeah. Like, some random people just walked in and started being like, this is mine. Oh, no.
It's a case of, well, we grew all this and built all this, yes, but ours now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what?
I just, know.
Let us know and down in the comments, because we'll be debating this all year.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of American history where it's kind of like, what?
Like, what did you expect?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, what does anybody expect going into a war, I suppose?
Like, across the board, all nationalities. Like, if you're doing one thing to another person, like, what do you expect?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not just going to be like...
Bye-bye. Oh, he's coming in to take over? That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine.
So, we will say a big thank you again for the suggestion. And
absolutely.
Always, we're open to suggestions. Let us know in the comments below, and we'll shout you out in the videos. Absolutely. I think it was a great segue through history, too. Mm-hmm. We didn't know a lot of that beforehand, so that was very informative for us. I hope it was for everyone watching. So as always, you were the beautiful people of YouTube, and we have been Unstable TV.
So drop a comment below and let us know what you thought of this reaction video, and if you have any other suggestions of what we should do, let us know too.
And as always, we will see you in the next